Hello, my name's Rick Nye, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society, and we know it better by our members as the Valley. Those who are watching and recording today's platform, I welcome you. And if you would like any further information or anything, feel free to put it into the chat, and we'll get back to you. The Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society is a community of all walks of life and learns and grows together through shared values, doing good, and nurturing the human spirit. We are a safe and courageous place in which members can build a community of friends and find inspiration and purpose, provide moral education for their children, and celebrate seasons and life events and clarify their worldviews. And that about sums it up pretty good for me.
Thank you, Rick. And now Phyllis is going to share with us some important announcements.
Well, again, hello and welcome to everyone. We're so glad to have all of you here today. Tomorrow, Monday, October 4th, is our Ethical Action Committee. It's at 7 o'clock, and if you want the Zoom link to be part of that, you can contact info@susquehannavalleyethicalsociety.org, and you can get the link there. We are always looking for more members for Ethical Action. We're doing some cool things, so we invite you to attend that. Next Sunday, October 10th, our platform is going to be by our very own Amir Gorin, who's going to talk about effective altruism. Also next Sunday, the Valley Free School, which is our secular ethical education for kids program, will have class during platform. So all the kids need to make sure that they're dressed appropriately. And some of our upcoming events on Saturday, October 16th, we're going to do another Spreading the Love campaign in downtown Lewisburg. That'll be from noon to 2 o'clock. And our goal is to talk to people and, hopefully get them interested in the society. But just to make some connections and let people know that we're out there. And also, excitingly, on Sunday, October 24th, we're going to celebrate our founding. It's been 6 years. Actually, this Sunday is 6 years since our founding. But we're going to do an in-person outdoor event at the Heater Center. There's going to be the SEED class will display their self-portraits. There will be food, there will be music, there will be dancing, there will be intergenerational activities, and just a lot of fun. So we really encourage you to come and invite a friend.
Thank you, Phyllis, for keeping us up to speed on everything that's taking place at the Valley.
All right, good evening, everyone. So glad to have all of you, all the visitors, as well. If you're joining us live on Facebook or after this recording, I'm just so glad to have you as well. Our virtual community is loved and honored and respected here. But I want to also offer this affirmation regarding why we meet, why we come together, because it is one of the most unique things that I think we offer, which is to deepen our sense of meaningfulness of life. The other part is that to shine light on the ideas with which we guide our choices, to give us courage to take the higher path and to get to know one another over time in appreciation of each one's unique and incomparable worth. And together we work for a world where love and justice across all borders. So I welcome you to Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society, but I also welcome you as we know it as the Valley. So here we offer that statement, and as well as we are also here totally to affirm the worth, dignity, and the uniqueness of every human being.
Thank you, Jay. And I am going to turn the program over to Jay, our AEU consulting leader. Jay has been with us since March of this calendar year, and continuing here into the month of October. And if all goes well, will be with us through December. And fingers crossed, we go into 2022 as well. We have a lot of work to do to make it all happen, but we're going to put our best foot forward and see that the AEU is going to welcome Jay as part of our family by continuing his service to us. So Jay, take it away.
Indeed. All right, y'all. So I'm going to play a little something. I found a decent cover that I really kind of was like, let's go ahead and play this. Of course, it was a special request by Pop Arduini. I love him dearly. So when I was like, let me go find these Sledge Sisters, let me go ahead and find We Are Family. And in addition to that, while that is happening, you can go ahead and turn up your iPhone. You can turn up your computer and get that sound kind of vibrating through your house a bit. But I want you to just get yourself a piece of paper and a pen if you can, okay? While I go ahead and kick us some music. Hey, Patty, can you allow for me to share? Thank you.
Are you set?
Yes, thank you. So, right. Hopefully we've got our little self a pad or something or a piece of paper. And I'm really happy to share with you this idea that I want to share with you based off of the movie Lilo and Stitch. Some of you are probably familiar with the movie. If you have little ones or had little ones like myself, I am a big fan of Stitch and the experience that Stitch brings. And if you have not seen it, I will not ruin the story for you. So I do recommend you go and see it. However, I want to get us in a little bit of an exercise. And the exercise that I would like for us to do is to draw the people in your family. Mm. And as you can kind of see, I've started off with a little circle here. So if you want to make stick figures or spider people, or as I like to say, gingerbread persons, I would, gladly accept those as well. I am a person who actually would spend more time drawing, but I won't do that today. But yes, draw people in your family. You need a piece of paper too. Go get the pad in the bedroom. You're drawing. Yes, you are. Making little pat people. I'm sure you are getting your family all in order. And I'm going to also, as y'all are drawing that, I will continue to draw. Take your time. What I want you to add to your drawing, once you've added your family and you continue, with each person, I want you to at least list 3 values that come to, that they bring to your household or to your family, right? 3 values that you find that are very important that come into the configuration of your family. 3 values. I see you, Kimberly. I see you. Yes. While that is happening, I'm going to share with you another clip.
I hear you cry at night. Do you dream about them? I know that's why you wreck things and push me. Our family's little now, but if you want, you could be a part of it. You could be our baby, and we'd raise you to be good. Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind. But if you want to leave, you can. I'll remember you though. I remember everyone that leaves.
Lost. Lost.
But you needed me more. You're my Ohana, Stitch. And I'll always love you.
So stop sharing. So what you just saw was Lilo in the bed talking to Stitch. Prior to that scene, just a bit further back, Stitch becomes aware that there's a picture of Lilo's family that was lost in an accident. The tragedy of Lilo's family is that they had an accident during the rain, the weather was bad. And so that is why when she begins to talk, she talks about it with Stitch and also talks about the loss of family, the loss of the value, explaining why maybe Stitch is possibly acting out. Very interesting to think about what family does, and when we have family and when we create our families, how family holds us accountable, and how family and us acting out also calls us to act in. There's something very beautiful about that. Family in the movie is identified with the word Ohana, which is actually, we can have a little fun, right? It's spelled right here, O-H-A-N-A, right? So, right, that moment that she describes, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. No one gets left behind or forgotten. It is probably the most revelatory statement by Disney to bring in such a framework. And I would be probably remiss if I didn't have a ministerial impulse to really enjoy it. But what I want to offer is also this phrase as well, as family helps us act in, right? It is an act in. It is an act in to our greatest call and values. It is a shaping experience, a structural experience. It is also a moment in which sometimes our confrontations or our disagreements call us as an act in. All of those things come with family. No one is removed from that. And this is why it's important for us to understand the configuration of family. Family can be created, not just in the sense of one having blood relationships, but also there are those who are adopted. There are those who are also called into family, in a sense where us people who are queer may identify with having created family. And people become siblings, if you will, identified as brothers or sisters or other forms of identity. Either they come in the framework of mothers and fathers, right? And uncles or grunkles, depending on your orientation, right? There are aunts and there are fonts. And there are all of these various languages that are constantly kind of just changing the way we imagine and see family. Family is not about particularly maybe the child that was birthed, but in many ways giving birth to also somebody else's opportunity after they've been rejected, meeting them in a level where their dreams can be produced even further. As someone who is constantly thinking about family and always engaging with family, I recently shared a post about my configuration regarding family. As some of you know, I identify as polyamorous, and that might be a very kind of open word that we use with social identity, but it's very hard for me to actually just use that word often because I really just identify as having family. I don't really rest in a lot of the terminologies of polyamory where people are like, oh, you have a polycule and you have that is your metamor. And if I started talking like that, I'm sure most of you would sit in here like I do sometimes and go, yeah, I don't know what that is. And when I read those books, I get really, really tired. And that is why, too, it's always important to figure out how, in many ways, certain values fit your family. So when I asked you about what are the values that certain folks bring into your family, and those folks are part of your family, what values are there, right? What are those 3 essential things that you find within the person that you spend your most valuable time with? The ones that sit maybe on your sofa, or you share a meal, or you drive in the car, and so on and so forth. In my configuration, I will use mine as an example. I have my 4 people. Now you're probably like, why are there 4 people? You have normally 4 people, but I did not put myself in this picture. I'm not in this picture, but I will label, this is my mother over here, my mom, as she has recently been reacclimated back into my family life. How about this story, for instance? I had not really spent a lot of time with my mother because I had been in college for quite some time. I had had some visits or so on and so forth, but really, I had to ask my mom, because of her values that she held to be true around what family looked like as a nuclear construction, nuclear meaning that there's a man and a wife and they have a child. I had to actually invite her into the experience of family. I didn't recruit her, I invited her because I wanted to respect the fact that we may have different experiences with family, and that family for her meant something different than what it meant for me. And as a result, she accepted the invitation. And with that, she had to accept the values that come in my family. So mom was invited into the family, and she was reacclimated into what was considered now to be family. As a result, I start with her, and I like to offer you a few of my other parts of family. I have a life partner, and I am okay with also identifying my life partner as also maybe in a convention, normal convention, as my wife. And her name is Storey. Storey's values are rooted in creativity, which is very big between us. That is something that we share in our household. Another value that we share is the ability to learn together. You have probably heard me say the phrase, fall in love with the learning of each other. And that is something that we have gotten together. Then in addition to that, right, the other thing that Storey and I spend time is we just love, honestly, style. And I say style loosely because style is very important between us, that we in many ways resonate with how we either create trends together. And that is because of the creativity. So we're really rooted here. Now, I also have Brian, who is sitting beside me and also sitting over here. Right? And Brian, of course, is identified as my love partner. Now, I could make it really fancy and polyamorous terms, but this is a term that I use to identify the person that I have an additional love for, right? So Brian's values that come, Brian is truly a family man. He's all about also showing up. And Brian is a giver, a real contributor. These values are very essential, and also very essential for pulling things together, right? So when I look at all of these values that my family is sharing, then beautifully, I have, which really developed probably just last month, I have now what we have now decided to call a sister partner, which in the polyamorous term would be a metamor. And that's just a fancy name for someone that you are not romantically intimate with. And they are more so an extension of the life partner's love. But that is Elise. And Elise has a book in her hand because Elise is an intellect at heart. Elise is also always grounded, very grounded person. And I find Elise to also be someone who holds dearly ethical living, always thinking about choices, always thinking about choices. So I'm sure you have a lot of values, and these are in orbit. It could almost, and so anytime I experience anyone else when I'm outside of my family, I seek these values. I would like to just for a moment, take a step back, close my mouth, and just hear from just a few of you about maybe one person in your configuration, and maybe, or you can list all the people in your configuration, but let's just bring out that one main value. that they offer. So feel free. I'm just going to hold space for everyone to share, please.
Can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
Fabio?
for me is Audrey. I mean, Audrey from the Teen Leadership Program at New York Society. I
Mhm.
mean, for me, I think faith, because I think family for me sometimes feel tribalism, in a sense of like we hold on to those tribalism that make us have enemy. And I think having faith on each other, and I think Audrey having faith on me to be to a faith of love, and that
Mm.
love that we collaborate, me and Audrey, is the sense of we are not family. She's from Ethiopia, I'm from Haiti. We are both concrete by, the ethical society, which is, the deed before creed. And that mentality is not really family, it's having faith on each other. And family for me, like everybody, is sometimes I look at the ethical society as a family, but at the same time, it's the faith within the ethical culture that allow me to congregate, even though we're not religious, but that faith is that thing that gives us strong. And that faith that brings us together, and that created a collective faith, not a collective family being tribalism, but a collective faith. And that collective faith make us who we are.
I hope y'all sat with that for that was juicy. That was juicy. Yes, faith and collective faith. Collective, listen, that definition of family right there is collective faith, finding value in each other. Let's breathe that, just breathe that in. Thank you, Fabio. Yes, Kimberly.
Kimberly. All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, whenever it's okay. Whenever you asked about one particular value that brings all the rest together in my family, I think of a bridge and the way a bridge is built. And the only way you can get from one place to another is if the bridge remains intact and strong. And there's a keystone in the bridge. And that keystone for me in my family is Patty. And Patty is the touchstone and the keystone of my family, who brings everybody else. We're all the rest of the stones that make the structure of the bridge. And that bridge is our path into our future and back to our past to explore things that make us us. And my family is Shay and SVES, and that has become even more evident just in the last year of my life. And Patty's my keystone. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all are moving me today. Is there another?
I'll step in here. I too think of family as, beyond the family that lives underneath my roof. It extends to, of course, my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandchildren who don't live far from us. It extends to Jay and Brian and as part of the family, especially when you're here and in our home with us, and my SVES family and Kimmy, everyone. And I think the value is the support that each and every one of the individuals and the community of SVES has given, has, it doesn't it's, when I could be down on, the bottom of the, rung and how I'm feeling on any particular time. It could be so down and out, but it's the family and their support that lifts me back up, and it keeps me going. It keeps me going. So support, I think it's that unconditional support. And I don't want that to be thought of as that they always tell me what I want to hear kind of support. That also goes with those things, the support when it's like, hey, step back a little bit, mom, and think about something in this way. So, that's important too in supporting someone.
I want to give space for at least two more. And if anybody else just feels moved, I don't want to, because I can shorten myself. This is good.
I think for me, the word that I would use, of course, my person is Jay. That I think the biggest value, and I say this with my life in general, love is my big thing, and love unconditionally, in many forms. Of course, I have the same people that Jay has down as family, because they are my family. But within that, I have 3 additional people. I have my 2 children and my grandson that I love unconditionally. And I know deep down, and I know that they may not understand a lot, but they love me unconditionally, and I know that. And it's obviously, unfortunately, just time. But I would say that, when I think of Jay, I think of love. I don't know that there's a person he doesn't love. I think of very loyal. Very loyal. And committed. Very committed to, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to everything, he's committed to it and puts 100% into everything that they do. This society is very important to me. Patty, Paul. So,
yeah. Beautiful. We've got being committed, being unconditional commitment and love. Such a beautiful thing. I see I need to pull up my chats because there's so much here. So much is there. So much is there. Anyone else?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
If you see mine, it's like 100 little faces or whatever there. And I have, I first started, I was just going to draw me and my 5 sons. And I thought, there's my mom, and then there's 14 grandchildren, and then I have a work life, and then the farmers down the road that do things for me. We're all one extended family, and it brings me, like I said, my 3 things were honesty, wisdom, and empathy. And I was thinking of a story, like my second marriage was breaking up. This is 20 years ago or something. And the kids were little, and I left, and it was around the holidays. And the people at work who really, I was only there 4 or 5 years, they passed a hat around because they knew I had to buy it, get a new apartment and start over with nothing. And these people that were just, I like, 5 years is not really that much to know. They collected, and I had a wonderful Christmas. Yeah, they put themselves in my shoes, the empathy that I couldn't afford a Christmas for my kids, and they made a Christmas for my kids. And now I'm with these guys 25 years, and they will tell me, that's where honesty comes in. They'll tell me if I'm being an asshole, I'll tell them if they're being an asshole. And that's, you got to be honest. You got to be brutal sometimes, and sometimes you got to put all the other politics and all that aside and just, hey, these guys they're my family, and as for my, the most influential guy in my life was probably my father, who taught me all this. He isn't here with me anymore, but he taught me that you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You can't, everybody's carrying a burden. You gotta, you gotta take it as it is and help if you can.
Wow. Lana, did you want to add anything? Because I just saw that your camera came on. I just didn't know if that was an indicator.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No,
Well, it is
it
good to
wasn't.
see your face. I appreciate seeing your face today.
Yeah, nice to see you too, Jay.
Rick, thank you so much. Thank you. I love this framework of honesty, right? And the politics aside. Jesse.
I'll just quickly add mine. Amir, it is bringing values of conscientiousness, loyalty, and honesty to our family, which I very much appreciate.
I love that. I love that. He brings that word and that conscientiousness. I feel it all often, even when he shows up in the space and everything. I know he's driving right now, from what I understand, if I understand that correctly. But yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. Yeah. Well, is there one more just before I feel like, yeah, I'm very moved by, I kind of wanted to collect these as I write them down in my mind, because I just was like, these are so many values, the collective values, like certain words just really sat with me. Keystone, right? This keystone, like, wow, like that, the holding of together, the bridge, right? That gets us from one place to another, which also kind of holds what Patty was saying earlier too, right? That support, right? And kind of, which was kind of very Jackie Wilson of her, where she was like, it lifts me up, right? It was a real moment there. And then there is faith, the collective faith. And then there's this experience and this phenomenon that is so hard to even capture, even with its 4 little letters, but love, right? Love as unconditional. I mean, I also heard, even if it wasn't even said in this way, but this beyond experience of family. I mean, Rick brought us into a narrative of moving vastly through my sons to my co-workers and went as far as to break politics and to break the trajectory and made an opportunity for us to think about what are barriers versus what are boundaries, right? And getting beyond those things. What kind of ethic do we have within our values of family that really hold us together, but also allow for us in many ways to maybe sometimes break the stitch and sew it up again? How do we mend? What values do we put forth? No family is perfect. No family is perfect. none of us hold the right way of doing family. Family doesn't come with a manual. It is the greatest time to use family to collaborate. It is the greatest time to really understand that no one is forgotten. And no one is left behind. We don't, in this space, I hope that we would practice these values and in different ways and use them as a language. Establish a language around, can you imagine, I can now imagine using the framework and being like, Kim, thank you for being a keystone. Thank you for trying to show up and be there. Thank you for being on the board. Thank you for being on it. Thank you for being a part of, you know, the program committee. Thank you for putting yourself there in those spaces and trying to be the bridge. Thank you, right? How do I say, you know, thank you, Amir, for bringing us in with your voice and bringing us in with your gentle honesty and speaking in many ways to our own space, truth to power, and generating us with your consciousness to bring us more awareness and understanding. Thank you, Jesse, right, for also allowing for you to just share the opportunity to be a part of your extended family. And now I see you also basically adopting other people's children, right? And teaching them to learn and grow. Like this construction, this configuration is very powerful. And all of a sudden we start doing what Rick experiences, which is reaching out to new people, other people, and they end up getting recruited into family. I'll do it with Anthony. I'm like, you know, we always identify each other as kindred spirits. We are kindred spirits. We really flow in our call together, but we also flow in making sure that we don't leave each other behind in trying to achieve our passion and our purpose. I align with the values of, you know, Patty and Pop. I really align with the values of reaching out to a broader community beyond myself. You want to talk about the most sharing, compassionate people? Right there. Compassion beyond measure. And I don't think, and I wish I could speak about 40 different languages to just say how compassionate they are. This, even having Lena here, having Fabio, these are not people who just pass through and pass by. This is the act in. This is the act in, right? And that is what I offer you as family. I offer you the moment to act in with us, to join us in that excitement of collectively working our faith together, to many ways allow for us to be honest together, to allow for us to be as free thinking and as free spirited and as free loving, so that we can as individuals come together in a whole experience. Being a world within a world. Family is the essence, if I may quote Anthony a little bit here, the essence of human flourishing. Because we realize our interconnectedness to act in together. So I leave you with that. I'm grateful for all of you. Ohana means family. And family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you all who shared this afternoon. Ohana. I love my Ohana. All of you. Thank you. And we will be having some closing words from our dear Anthony. And afterwards, anyone who wants to stay on for a few moments till approximately 2:45 to connect and talk a little bit among ourselves. It's been a while. I'll certainly leave the Zoom open for that to happen. Anthony?
Dear members, guests, family, familia, mishpacha, as we part from this co-created space, we are inviting you in. We are calling you in. Recognizing our mirrors, false selves, limited visions of who we want others to see within ourselves. We still invite you in to the valley, to relationality, to freedom. We invite you to an imperfect space so that together we can create an ethical practice of liberation, purpose, and life. Welcome, and until next time.
I want to interject and just offer too that as you think about, as we take in this closing, to think about also the this month's pledges and how when we talk about support, how we talk about how we show up, how we in many ways take the opportunity to work collectively, to put our hands to work, be a functional faith. Join us in making sure that you do your membership dues. The deadline is October 31st, but it is you as a family that makes this happen. It is you in this valley that allows for us to make it even a vast place for all people of all walks of life to come to this space, to see themselves and hear themselves in ways that they could not imagine. So I offer you that opportunity to take the chance. Please, even if you are visiting, feel free to contribute as well. That is on our website, which you can look up online. And I am, Jesse, would you mind putting our website in the chat for those friends who are here? And I also invite you for the blast of a gathering that is happening October 24th, which will be our founding anniversary. October 24th, our founding anniversary. The Valley is going to kick it live. We have a wonderful opportunity to have a DJ. We just got some really awesome, cool sound equipment. We're gonna be doing some moving and shaking, and there will be some talking a little bit, but very, very short, because we want to make sure we have a good time. And we are so excited to invite you to come and join us. We affirm you that you are welcome in this space all the time. You are not a stranger, you are a beloved one. And so we thank you for being here. So glad that you joined us today. And we conclude this portion of our service and we leave. Of course, we have 15 minutes available. if we want to linger or stay on a little while longer. And if there's nothing left to be said, I turn this portion over to our president, Patty Arduini.
Great. Thank you. I am going to stop the recording.